Hi guys. Today I want to talk about oracle decks and tarot decks as forms of enhancing and practicing your intuition, your intuitive gifts, and how I use them to kind of work that muscle of intuition, to like build my intuition and build my ability to understand the communication that comes to me through divinity and the many forms of that. Like, I truly believe that like cards are actually something that allows and trains me to be able to see signs not only within cards but throughout all of life, because there can be messages through everything, right? Through music, through numbers, through all these different things. And these cards help me to identify them, because when you work with cards, it's almost as though you'll feel yourself drawn to certain cards that have like an energetic pull to you, or the cards will actually be drawn to you by like jumping out of the deck. And it just allows me to kind of to practice, knowing what it feels like to be intuitively guided. And then also, like, when I actually read the cards themselves and like go through the description of them, it helps me practice, like I said before, interpreting the messages that are given to me by divinity, right? And I know that this is something that is controversial, as like some people think tarot and oracle cards are channeling something negative or bad. And I think it really is all about the intention that you carry behind it, the cards that you pick, all of these different things. Like, I don't think I've never had a bad experience. Like, all of the cards, even in tarot, are like not negative. Like, they don't say bad things, and they don't like tell your future necessarily. They don't really tell you things that you don't already know. They just help clarify that which you already know internally. And again, it's like there will be like certain words that like feel like they light up as I am reading the descriptions of these cards, and it just helps me to really practice trusting that intuitive guide, those intuitive nudges. Lately, I have been more interested in and drawn to oracle decks than tarot decks, just because there's a lot more variety in oracle decks, and you can kind of pick exactly like what vibe you're wanting. And I don't personally, oh, we're not gonna have the blue purple light anymore, I'm sorry to tell you guys. Or actually we still can. But what was I gonna say? I lost my train of thought, guys, because I'm working on this blue light here. Oh yes, so there's a lot more variety in them, and I feel as though you can kind of, I know that there's people that, there it is. I know that there's people that like already know all of the meanings of all of the tarot cards. I'm not like that. What I do is I like to like read through the actual like descriptions, and then I'm able to pull messages through those descriptions. So like if I have like a spread of tarot cards, I can like get the vibe of what's being said, but I don't necessarily, like, I can't really start reading them until I read all of the descriptions. And what I like about certain oracle decks is a lot of them will have like these little mini descriptions underneath already, and then the visuals on them paired with that kind of allow me to already start the reading right as I like pull the first cards. So that's why I've kind of been drawn to them a little bit more. Right now, I've been really enjoying the Rose Oracle deck. This is by Rebecca Campbell. I really liked another one that she had called the Starseed deck, but I gave that one to my friend just because like I felt like it was being called to her. That's something that I've noticed with my cards, is that like I go through phases with my cards, like where I don't actually have like all of my cards that I've ever owned. I usually pass them on to other people, like when it feels like the time is right. Like, I have times in my life where certain decks of cards, like, I'm just drawn to them, and then there's like moments where it just feels like, okay, like now it's time to move on to the next one, which is very interesting because like I feel like it I don't know, that's why I like oracles, I think, because it's like, and also just, different writers of tarot. I don't know, I just like variety in my messages, because I feel like as you go through your spiritual awakenings and journey, it's like different messages are going to apply to you, different themes. There's different themes to your life, you know, there's different seasons to your life. And so it's nice to have different decks for different times. And interestingly enough, I've had this deck for a while and it hasn't really called to me, but lately it has been the one that I've been called to the most. And I actually have been like really drawn to roses in general. So I wonder if like that kind of has anything to do with it, but it definitely to me is a sign of alignment for sure. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull a card and we'll see what it says, and I'll kind of just show you kind of what my process is, and you'll just see how it goes. You'll see how like I start to pull things, and it's basically like as I read the cards, I start to be reminded of like things in my life or things like in your life, or just like ways that this can apply. So like I'll have different thoughts that kind of just start popping into my mind, and I'll sense those thoughts, and I'm able, that's where like the intuitive guidance kind of like starts to come from. This is also something that's really quite good, like when I'm gonna start shuffling, but this is also something that's just quite good for me, like when my connection is not feeling very strong. I already had one pop out the deck, because lately that's how it's kind of been feeling, and I was like kind of scared of that at first, that my connection was like getting weaker, but I don't necessarily think it's getting weaker. It feels as though I'm being initiated into and graduating into like a new level of my spiritual gifts and my intuitive gifts. And I think it's as though like before Divinity was like holding my hand, at least for like the last few months, where it was like telling me exactly what was going to happen. And now it feels as though there's like a veil over what is about to happen in my life, and I kind of just have to like float through it and trust. You know, this whole thing goes through really ebbs and flows and different seasons of having to have intuitive action and then having to kind of like lay back and rest. And I know that there's sometimes like it can feel like I'm telling you like multiple different things like all the time, like things that don't always like align with each other, but it's just like, I don't know, like it's not always the same answer. It's not always the same you're not always even supposed to take the same path to your answers, right? Like it's ever changing, and at the end of the day I don't really know anything, right? Like none of us really do. This world is really complex, and I mean Divinity is just, you know, beyond our comprehension. So I've really realized that this life really is like a movie, and you just kind of have to watch and realize that you'll have the right energy at the right times to go do, you know, take action, to, you know, decide what it is that you want, but then you'll have the energy some days to just sit back and relax and let Divinity take care of everything. But I don't think that there's one right answer. I don't think that you always have to do one or the other. I just think that like as time goes, like it calls for different things, you know, like sometimes you really do need to be decisive on what it is that you want. Sometimes you just need to be accepting of whatever is to come. Sometimes you need to really detach from the outcome and not really care what it is that comes. So it's just like a very interesting journey, and you know, we're just working through it together. But the card that I drew today was Held. Sureness of, so let's see, this is crazy. Sureness of the soil, unseen help, support, and community. Now, this is interesting to me because I just barely talked about how like it's like I felt as though my hand was being held, and now it doesn't really feel like that, but it's like I can still sense that the presence is there, like watching and guiding me. It's not as like obvious anymore, but it's like I feel like that has to happen, right? Especially if we're evolving our intuitive gifts. Like you can't have your hand held the whole time. It has to be something that where basically like the training wheels have to come off eventually, and I feel like that's kind of in the place where I am at this moment. And that doesn't mean that my connection with Divinity will never go back. It's just that things are ever changing, and there's so many seasons to this life. So I really love that this says unseen help, support, and community. So that already is like what I was talking about, that like I know that it's there. I know that there's still support. I know that I'm still held. I know that I'm still guided, but it's just, it's not as visible anymore, right? Like it's not as like obvious in your face, holding your hand, talking to you every day. It's like something, I feel like I'm in this like waiting period for this next phase. And again, it's like Some days I feel like I have to take action, and some days I feel like I just have to wait. But what I do know is that the path will very soon be revealed to me and any of you that are feeling in the same way, because I know a couple people in my comments have said that they're feeling similarly. The path will be revealed to us very soon, and it's all in due time, you know? But yeah, let's go ahead and look up held. I'm gonna read this to you, and we're just gonna see like if it resonates in any way. When times are turbulent, to keep ourselves steady, we need something to hold on to. When things are crumbling around us, we must find something we can count on that won't budge. Deep roots to hold us steady when the winds of change come blowing. A supportive community around us. When we leave home, we must find something to hold us. When our lover leaves, we must find something to hold us. When the job ends, we must find something to hold us. When our parents die, we must find something to hold us. When we think there's nothing holding us, it's an invitation to find a new supportive ground. This is where we can discover the sureness of the soil, the holding of the roots, and reach out to our community for extra holding. We were never meant to grow on this earth alone. Sometimes life rips from us what we cling to most, or perhaps we cling to it for we can feel the cycles of change coming. Yet, in the darkness of our longest, darkest night, we discover that it's in the empty spaces that we can be reached and held the most. It's in these that we discover a holding that we didn't know before, and we discover that what we thought was a tomb was actually a womb. You're being called to trust that the Great Mother has got you, to trust in the sureness of her soil, to trust the process of what's unfolding, and that you're not going through this alone. How can you call in more support in your life? What's holding you right now? Now, a couple things really come up first for me. First, I want to say, when I told you, certain words can pop out to you, one of the ways that certain words can pop out to you especially is if you've already heard that word in passing over the last few weeks. Like that is definitely a message. Like that is definitely some type of confirmation of alignment. Like for me, the darkest night, one of you guys was actually commented about the darkest night on one of my videos. And so for me, that is a confirmation of alignment that this card is correct. It's the right card for me, right? And then next, community. I feel like, man, it makes me want to really thank you. It makes me want to thank all of you guys here, because I am going through something that's dark and difficult, and where things have been taken from me and the changes can be very turbulent, but I have found so much security and safety within this community, and I'm so grateful for that. And I hope that the same thing has come for you. Like, you guys truly inspire me to keep going. You make me feel as though I do have something here, that something truly is, that this is real, that I have something real, like that I have a gift that I can truly share with you. And you all remind me of that every day. And that really is the benefit of community. That is the benefit of us all being here and cheering each other on and seeing that we're all going through similar things. And this evolution is something that is not easy. It's not easy by any means, but it's so meaningful. And it is something that so many people will benefit from. So the main thing that comes to mind here for me is that even if you can't feel it, there are things that are holding you. And maybe sometimes divinity is holding you through the community, okay? Maybe the community is here for you to be divinity holding you, as an expression of divinity to hold you. And that is exactly how it feels to me when I get to have you guys here every single day supporting and making me realize it's worth it to keep going. So thank you so much for being here. Again, if you're having a hard time with connection, maybe it's just a graduation. Maybe it is just an initiation to something even bigger and greater. But I don't know what is going to happen here for sure over the next few months. I know that something big and great and grand is coming our way. But I don't know what it is or when it will be coming. But what I do know is that the path will be revealed to us in due time. So, keep going. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for your support. I seriously can't thank you enough, and I will see you all tomorrow. Have a great night.